In this part of the Master Key System, Charles Haanel continues on the idea of powerful thoughts and how we can accomplish any goal in our life with the conscious realization of the spiritual nature of our thoughts. This is a 3-step process he outlines in this chapter. It is 1, having the knowledge of our power, having the courage to dare, and the faith to do. Haanel mentions that we are always building with our thoughts in this very moment as we're watching this video, as we go about our day. Even when we are not aware of it, our thoughts are always building for us. So we can have our ideal in mind, we can always be thinking about the things that we want, but if we're embodying feelings like anxiety, fear, of discouragement, those are very powerful thought forces. And those powerful thought forces will actually push away the things that we actually want. So we can actually have the idea in mind of things that we want to work towards, but if we're embodying those feelings of fear, discouragement, anxiety, it's like taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. What we are responsible doing is to have a practical working knowledge of unchanging principles of this universe. We are not here to change or adjust the infinite powers. We are here to actually fall in line, to be in harmony with these unchanging natural laws, and that will determine our degree of success that we have, our ability to adjust ourselves to these infinite powers. And the fact of the matter is that we are always thinking tens of thousands of thoughts a day. It's like it never stops. These thoughts just keep on coming. We are responsible for governing those thoughts. Most of the day can go by with our thoughts just being passive, not even observing what we're thinking, but we have a major responsibility of observing those thoughts, governing them, and not wasting them. We don't want to waste our thought force. We want to actually direct it intentionally. We want to be so clear on our ideal that when an opposing thought comes in, something that is contradictory, something that is not even in the same realm, that doesn't even apply or does not have a definite means to a positive end to what we want, we need to absolutely discard those thoughts. What we are responsible for is having a clear ideal of what we want and to stick with it. And if you could imagine if a sculptor of marble had their hammer and chisel and started sculpting out their ideal, and then maybe in a day or two they were sculpting and then they changed their idea. They have a new objective to create, and they started sculpting that new ideal, and they progress with that, and then maybe in a couple other days they have a new ideal, or they started chiseling back to that first idea. What would that marble sculpture look like? What would even happen? And it would look like a mess. It wouldn't even look like one or the other. It would be an ugly sculpture. And this is what we are doing in our mind when we jump and flip-flop from ideals, when we change our what we want. We want one thing one day, we start changing ideas. Maybe the sun is shining and we feel good, and when the weather's not so good, we change our ideals. This is what's happening in our mental world, and what are we going to get when we keep on changing our ideals? And an idea that we can stick with has to be of the highest that we can think of so that it has the most power. When it can have the most power, we can stick with it, we can look at it and say that this is the thing that we want, and we don't have to flip-flop on our ideals, our objectives. What are we going to possibly manifest if we keep on changing our ideals and not really sticking with something? Is the example of a sculptor chiseling something and changing their mind midway through. So we can come to the conclusion that indecision and negative thought equals wasted thought material. Just like the sculptor who is changing their idea, indecision and negative thoughts are wasting our thought force, and it will push away any ideal that we have. It will scatter our ideas, and our mental force will not be directed, and we cannot achieve a definite end. When it comes to the mental world, we have to be vigilant. We have to close the door on thoughts and ideas that do not correlate with what we want. When we are passive, when we are negative, those will drain our thought force, those will drain our energy, and we will not have enough thought energy to think of the things that we actually want. We are going to be bombarded by ideas and thoughts that do not correlate with us. That's why it's important to listen to only things that we want to. So if we turn on the news and we see a bunch of stuff that kind of triggers us, that makes us feel in a certain way, we have to ask ourselves, is watching this and absorbing this information, applying me, going to get me to where I want to go? Is learning about stuff around the world that has no relation to me working in my favor? And we have to be very discriminatory with these thoughts and these ideas. Not everything applies to us and is in relation to where we are going, and we have to shut the door. And we have to shut the door, close it outright to things that do not apply to us, and only keep our highest ideals and things that will get us there in our mind. So not only will listening to negative thoughts and ideas drain our life force, they will be absorbed into our consciousness, absorbed into our thoughts, repeating in our mind, and guess what? Those will bring about similar conditions to what we are thinking about. So being vigilant about our thoughts, what we're absorbing, is of the utmost importance, because one, not only will it push away the things that we want, it will bring into our lives things that correlate with those negative ideas. A point that is interesting in this part of the Master Key system is when Hanel talks about the universal mind, that it is substance, and this substance gathers into electrons, which are pretty much empty space, which gather together to form atoms, and the atoms form molecules, and these molecules take objective form. And we are responsible for impressing ourselves on the universal mind, which in its course will follow that path to form objective reality for us. So it may help to understand this from a scientific perspective, which is why he includes this in this part, because this is scientific work. This is exact, immutable laws, just like the law of gravity and just like the law of electricity. When a bridge falls or something collapses, we don't start going and investigating the law of gravity. We don't say, did gravity shut off and cause this building to collapse or cause a variation in our atmosphere? No, we don't do that. So it's the same thing with the law of attraction. It is precise as the law of gravity. It works in the same way at all times, and the only variation that can be at fault is ourselves and our own thinking. The law of attraction falls and rests on the law of vibration, and the law of vibration falls and rests on the law of love. This is irresistible, unchangeable, and mathematically exact. What we love is what we bring into our life. And if we are loving fear and anxiety, we will bring those things into our life. Those are powerful forces. But if we override those fears and override those anxieties, we will bring into the things that we actually love. And when we think about the things that we have an ideal for mixed with love, we are impressing that onto the infinite universal mind. The things that we love will have no choice but to come into our life. Think of the things that are already in our life and how we have mixed our emotions to bring those things into our life. This law is already in action. It is already working. All we have to do to see the evidence of it is to see what is in our life, what we have mixed, what kind of emotions we have mixed with our thoughts. For example, our level of health. We can think of how we have been thinking about our health, what emotions we have mixed with it is the result that we are currently getting. And that can be applied to anything else, our area of work, our personal relationships, and how we think about just about anything in our daily life. The emotions that we have mixed with the thoughts equals that vital force that will bring things into our life. These thoughts will always correlate with its object to bring it into our life. The mind cannot bring in a new idea unless there are corresponding brain cells for it to attach onto and receive. So as we are watching this video, as we are learning this knowledge, if we have never heard of it before, or this is unfamiliar or strange to us, just about anything new that we've ever learned, we can start now to build these brain cells so that we can understand it, these new ideas that come in, and we can implement it into our life. Our intention governs our attention, and what we want to do is have our intention in a specific direction. Hanel mentions that This happens in the silence. In absolute silence, we are able to concentrate and focus. And sometimes we can think that this is very easy to do, but only in absolute silence we can get to the truth. This leads us to our practical steps. So if you've been following, which you should be following, knowledge is one thing, our practical application is another, and this will form new habits that will help us implement this knowledge. So for our practical step, what we want to do is follow the same procedure, the same chair, the same room, take our time in the silence, and what we want to do is relax. We want to totally let go. We don't want to have any tense muscles, any tense nerves. We don't want to do any mental work under pressure. We want to be free while we're doing this. We want to concentrate and bring forth the ideas that our ability to think and to impress on the infinite is our skill that we are using here, and that any objective, anything that has been accomplished, anything that will be accomplished by any human being is in our capacity. We have the capacity to do anything that anybody else has ever done. We have the same functionalities, we have the same brain. We are all made from the one infinite source. The only differentiation is of degree. So in the silence is where we want to discover our truth. In the silence, we want to calm ourselves, calm our thoughts. Then we can meet with divinity. And that is where our thoughts are most powerful, not on the surface where things are vibrating and waves are slashing and things are chaotic. When things are silenced, we can go to the depths, closer and closer to the source of our thoughts where they have more power. And we want to realize that our power is to think and impress on the universal mind. And when we are doing this, we are initiating causes. Thoughts are things. These are actionable items that we are doing, these practical steps in the mental world that will have their effects in the physical world. So that is our step. That is what we have for the law of love in this part of the Master Key System. I hope this resonates and I hope it helps. And take care until next time.